Hello, welcome back. So in the previous part, we suffered our first, major defeat, where we tried to take on Sparta, and as it turned out, they had a significant number of armoured hoplites, which are just far superior to any units that we have or can have. So we were pushed against the edge of the map, mostly my fault for setting up my army there, but we couldn't win the fight in the end. Fortunately though, our two family members have survived, including our faction leader, so they will continue to fight for another day. I've kind of already done a test run of the first couple of turns of this part, and I think I pretty much know what needs to be done now. We shouldn't go back and try to take them on again, because it won't work. Same way it didn't work last time. We can't take on the armoured hoplites, they're far stronger than Principes, and especially Hastati, so we don't want to fight them, unless we have to. What we can do, however, is we can go to the south, and we'll find the town of Kydonia on Crete, which I very much expected to be in Greek hands, but it turns out it's not. Now if we try to unload here, we will discover a rebel army consisting of militia hoplites, Sicilian pirates, Cilician pirates? I don't know. Cretan archers times 2. Cretan archers are the pretty much one of the best units, if not the best units, of archers in the game. And something we can do now that we've landed is we can recruit one of our own, along with mercenary hoplites, Rhodian slingers, and peltasts. So definitely worth picking up just to kind of repair our army with. And we also want to take this town, which is going to be pretty easy to bring down. We just need to defeat this rebel force right here. Let's just get straight into it. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to send the skirmishers forward, take on the militia hoplites. We want our cavalry units try and rout the Cretan archers and the Cilician pirates, and especially the Cretan archers before they can do too much damage. So we're going to go straight in, try and do that. They're already starting to load and fire their missiles. These guys are completely ignoring me and going straight for the pirates. We might be able to rout them. It's not ideal to be fighting them like that already. They are throwing the javelins at us. We need to be careful of the faction leader here, but with the backup from our equites, we are able to rout them successfully. And let's go straight in. Try and rout the Cretan archers in much the same way. And just keep weakening the militia hoplites on the other side.
And now his men fear us. It is time to press the attack.
Okay, they should be routing pretty quickly now. So we'll bring up our normal infantry.
God be praised. The enemy's hearts are full of fear, and now they flee.
Try and finish off as many as we can, ensure they can't come back and bother us later. And we'll go and harass the... Well, we've got no projectiles left, so we'll hang back and we'll use our infantry to take on the final militia hoplite unit. What's escaping there? 5 pirates. That is fine. Shouldn't be too many losses here. We have lost a few equites, which is annoying. The general's bodyguard is not a problem. We can afford to lose those. They will come straight back. Not straight back, but they'll come back over the next few turns, so that's not a problem. We just want to avoid engaging these as much as possible, because otherwise we'll take losses, so anything we can do that doesn't involve projectiles, we will do. Probably would have actually been useful here to recruit the Cretan archers before we engaged, but I think it's fine either way. Still finishing off the Cretan archers over there. And that's the bulk of them really. We'll go finish off these last few militia hoplites, as looks like we're just about ready here now. Before you guys do that, pull back a bit, getting way too close. We'll make sure they all get a good shot off. Massively thin out their numbers. These guys should be getting ready to fire now. If we look. Yeah, they are going for it. So their numbers should go down pretty quickly. If we charge them in the back, we might be able to successfully rout them. Yeah, you can see their numbers going down very quickly. Shaken already. Let's try and rout them before they can actually start getting too many kills. Holding out surprisingly well, but only getting a few kills. We should finish them off here with a nice charge in the back. And we'll just wipe them out. Okay, that was fine. I think in my previous test run that went a lot better, but it's fine. Most of those units should come back. And now we can recruit our next few... well, our next mercenaries, I guess. Should be a better mercenary force than the last one we relied on. Cretan archers, going to be pretty huge. Retinue expands as well, so we got a veteran centurion, who's less likely to be assassinated. Not too important given how old he is. And he's also got +1 command when commanding infantry, which he will be. And he's become a better commander as well, so that's 2 extra command stars, which is going to be very helpful. Now let's also recruit all the mercenaries, because we need as much as we can get, and we're going to take the town. Should be just a case of walking straight in and taking it. Now I'm really torn about whether to exterminate or occupy here, because Crete has got obviously a very nice kind of launch pad for attacking Asia Minor, potentially Egypt as well, Cyprus, Rhodes, many other places. It's going to be a pretty nice town in general, just for feeding units in to attack and support all of our other towns around the various coasts. On the other hand, they are unhappy. I don't want to leave an army here, really. I think I do want to be getting back to Sparta. Try and take them out while they're still weak. I haven't really decided what to do here. I can still get 400 just for looting. In the long term, well, in the kind of medium long term, I think it's better to occupy so that the town develops quickly, but in the super long term, if we exterminate, then it's never really going to grow to the point where it starts rebelling. I think we want to try and occupy, because I think it's going to be useful to actually be able to start building things from here. So we get the governor's villa, we'll get some peasants just to try and keep them happy for a little while, and we're going to jump straight back in the ships.
Onward! No more moves, sir. Aye, Captain. Yes, Captain. Fleet ready.
Elsewhere, we've got Carthage still trying to keep this place as happy as possible. I think a rebellion is definitely coming at some point here. I have mostly been building peasants just to keep the public order going, but they are pretty much the best town for actual recruitment as well, so that's something to bear in mind. Kydonia, they do have a shrine to Aphrodite, which we can destroy. It is helping with population growth, which is not necessarily bad at the moment. Drop them to low tax rate, still 0% public order. I'm hoping we won't lose them immediately. Peasants should help with that. And we've only got 700 left to spend. Let's just move this guy around, because there is an Numidian force prowling around somewhere, which we need to find and destroy. It's not going to be easy, because there's 2 family members, one of which is the leader of Numidia. It's got a pretty massive bodyguard unit. Elsewhere, we've now established that Carthage has gone to war with, strangely, Gaul. So that's where the majority of their forces have gone to the north. They're trying to take some Gaul towns. And Corduba is pretty much open to attack, so we're going to go and attack that as soon as possible. And I think we have a Senate mission as well to blockade that port. No throw games at our expense. So let's do that. Nice easy Senate mission to achieve. We've got a little bit of money left. I think we want to be recruiting Equites at Thapsus, just because those are going to be good to support and to feed along the African coast. When we eventually do start making moves from Cyrene, I'm not convinced Cyrene is completely safe. But that's going to be our launch pad to take out the final Numidian town, and potentially start looking to attack Egypt, but Egypt are absolutely terrifying. I'm also really terrified of Thrace. I think it's going to become more obvious why at the end of this turn. But otherwise, I think we've done all we can here. Possibly we can recruit. No, there's nothing worth recruiting there. Suppose we could delete the Shrine to Aphrodite, get a bit of money back. But I think we'll wait till next turn, and we'll just end that turn there. What about that diplomat? Gotta go find the Seleucid Empire if we can before it's too late. So here we can see Thrace has now also declared war on the Greeks, which you'd think would be a good thing. But they're actually quite scary. They've got several doom stacks, and they're all headed south, which is where I am, and where I plan to be. And I don't suppose they would be too merciful to me. The Senate want me to take Sparta, and they'll reward me with Triarii if I do. And here is the stupidest thing that Greece has done so far, and our potential lifeline. They have loaded up one measly bireme, or one measly unit of bireme. I think it's one bireme with 40 men on it or something. They've loaded that up with a pretty massive army, which may consist of, among other things, armoured hoplites. So we want to try and sink that so we don't have to actually fight it. First, let's actually board the ships. I'm going to actually swing round here and just park myself there so that we can reinforce. We'll go for a two-pronged attack. Hopefully sink them. Don't manage to sink them. Oh, we do. I didn't think we would. Oh, that's even better. So that army is just completely gone. It's gone up in smoke. And now Sparta is relatively undefended. We can go and attack it again. Do we want a sap point, or do we want to just put a couple of siege towers and a ram? Let's get a sap point as well, why not? So they can hold out for, how many turns was that? 7 turns. Can potentially attack them though. They have got armoured, no, not armoured hoplites, just normal hoplites. It's tempting to try and assault that directly, but not necessarily going to be a great fight. Diplomatic information, Thrace has gone to war with Greece, as we know. Allies, Numidia and Parthia. Ceasefire between Parthia and the Seleucid Empire. Not too much else going on. Capra's built an arena. I don't remember actually telling it to do that, but okay. Now we're nearly at 24,000. I think when we get to 24,000, I never actually looked this up, but I think that's when we get the Marian reforms, which I'm starting to think, as much as I'm loving seeing the Brutii and the Julii pretty much failing to really expand at all. I mean, I guess the Julii are slowly progressing. As much as I am enjoying that, I think when you compare things like the armoured hoplites to our Principes, Principes are significantly weaker. 7 attack, 16 defense. No ability to form the phalanx formation. We kind of want to start getting better units now. We can potentially upgrade the barracks in Carthage. If we do that, we can start recruiting Triarii, which is also very tempting. But again, they're not really on the same level either. You do need the Marian reforms to get the better units. What do you know about the Senate mission? Apparently we're losing money, but starting the turn off with 3,900 denarii is not bad. Games will be thrown in our honour. And we've become the most advanced faction again. They've held the games in Kydonia, that's interesting. It's not really helped too much. But once we build the governor's villa, hopefully they'll lighten up a bit, and we'll get a few more peasants as well. Retrain the peasants that died. It only costs 12 denarii, so that's a no-brainer. Sadly we can't recruit any new mercenaries in Sparta just yet. I think what concerns me about assaulting Sparta is if we have to fight the hoplites on the walls, what have we really got to do that? We've got like one halfway decent unit of Principes, backed up by a few smaller units of Principes, and that's about it. There's not really much else we can do to take the walls off them. Mercenary hoplites might be able to do it perhaps, but again, that could be big losses. This is another situation where I think the auto-resolve would probably do better than a human player. But we'll deal with that when we get to it, probably next turn. Carthage is not yet finished its Imperial Palace. Awesome Temple of Saturn is tempting, just to keep them happy. Their population's getting pretty massive as well. Public order isn't yet a problem, but it's going to be a problem soon. On the other hand, this is only going to give us like an extra 10% of public order, so possibly not the best option. I don't really see an alternative though. I think we need to do something to deal with the public order situation there. It's not getting any better. And Nepte, I think it's going to be a long time before we can do anything with Nepte. It's only got 420 population. I don't know how many we need to actually recruit these peasants, but we're kind of stuck looking after them for now. Otherwise their public order situation is just going to be too bad. I guess if we destroy the Shrine to Baal and immediately build the Shrine to Saturn, that might help slightly. And let's try stepping out of the town, see what it does to their morale. So let's drop them straight down to 60%. So we need to stay in there for at least one more turn. Can recruit Libyan mercenaries. That might be an option just to hold the public order situation down. It's relatively affordable too. I wouldn't mind doing that. We need to find that Numidian force. It did look like it was headed in this direction, either to Thapsus or to Nepte. I figured it was going to Nepte, but I don't think it is anymore. We've got a spy. Nearly made his way to... well, still a little way to go. Probably 2 more turns and we'll see the last of the Numidian forces. Up here in Iberia we're going to besiege Corduba, which we can see doesn't consist of too much, but you don't really want to besiege a town with a load of equites and not a lot else, so potentially we prefer to starve that one out. 8 turns though, that's rough. Perhaps we should send some more Astarte in that case. Let's see how unhappy they get. So they're actually fine for now, so let's cross back over. I'm not convinced we will actually go and assault this town, but we'll need a few more infantry units if we do. Scipii, I just want to check his age, he's 37 years old. That might give him just enough time to take over most of Iberia. Thrace is going to be such a problem though. I wanted to attack Macedon, but they've got a pretty massive force there. Again, much like the Greeks, they could have some really strong phalanx units that we're not actually prepared to deal with just yet.
Ready to sail.
This Seleucid navy, which consists of very little, is actually stopping us from blockading the Greeks. Not sure how to feel about that one. Anyway, just the 400 left to spend. Let's see if we can find the final Seleucid town, which we have. It's right here. It's not under attack yet. I think it's their final town. I could check. Would be interesting to know. They are normally the first faction to go. You can see their overall ranking is, as usual, doing pretty badly. They've got no production. Yeah, it looks like they just got the one territory, which is right here. This is our last chance to rip them off. So let's give it a go. Trade rights. I'm not sure how much money they have. Said they had very low production, so probably very little, if any. Yeah, they want us to pay. I'll try asking for 100. Okay, let's try one more time. Just trade rights. Okay, that works. Now, given how badly that went, I'm not convinced they're going to pay for map information, but we'll have a go. I feel reluctant conning them out of money, knowing that they really need all they can get. Okay. I didn't think they'd accept, to be fair. Let's try one more time. We're going to ask for 200 this time. This is the best we can do for them. Yep, they're not happy. Okay, that's fine. We weren't going to get too much out of that. There's an Egyptian diplomat there. Still very uncomfortable with everything Egypt is doing. They're expanding massively, and strongest faction on the map. I'm pretty scared of Thrace, but Egypt make Thrace look pretty weak. In fact, I would be quite curious, again, just to compare that for a moment. If we look at the military ranking, we can see Thrace is doing really well. In fact, is ahead of us. Julii slightly ahead of them. Brutii kind of on a par with me. Then if you look at Egypt, it's just on another level. If Egypt starts sending their full forces to attack us, I'm not sure how we'd deal with that. It's one of the reasons I'm focusing more on Iberia and Greece right now. I'm not necessarily in a rush to start fighting the Egyptians. Otherwise, I think we've done all we can for this turn, so let's just end the turn, I guess.
Ready. General, engage the enemy. Settlement under siege, sir.
Okay, let's see how close this guy is. He's not quite there yet.
Your command. You are mistaken, sir.
I'll try and talk to Thrace, see if we can get an alliance. Seems unlikely, but we'll give it a go. Okay. Some more soldiers died. I'm hoping now, with the games being thrown, yep, they're actually doing okay for public order. We can delete the shrine to Aphrodite, or this could be a really great location for a temple to Neptune, which would give us those really great navy units. So potentially we want to wait till we've got a port before we do something like that. We can retrain the peasants anyway, recruit a few more, just to keep them happy. And let's go for the port. We definitely want a port. Trader, population growth bonus. I'm not too fearful of having a high population here just yet. So we'll do that. And now potentially we can attack Sparta. Fortunately we don't know too much about it. But it's tempting to have a go. First let's see what's going on. There's a ceasefire between Armenia and the Seleucids. Only really recruiting peasants at the moment, which is not really going to keep us ticking along very well. But hopefully once we take Sparta, we'll have a bit more money to work with. Egypt has overtaken us. And that's about it for the turn. Well, not for the turn, but for what happened between the turns. Large Temple of Neptune. It's one of the least appealing buildings to make because it's only, well, it costs 1,600 denarii. Its only effect is to increase public order by 5%. But once you get over that barrier, you can then start getting the next tier, which gives you the very good naval units. Now, Lily Biome is not very happy. I think we need to... Having just said how much I dislike the idea of building it, I think we kind of have to, just to keep them happy, and to get a few peasants as well. Just got to keep the public order going as much as possible. Here is that last force. Looking a little stronger too, I think. I don't recall them having mercenaries before. This guy must be pretty old now. No, he's still got a few turns left in him. Slightly concerned about that. I think if he is going to besiege Lepsis Magna, what we probably want to do is we want to try and get our cavalry over to help him out as soon as possible. Quintus Scipio is 58 years old, so he's, as far as Roman standards goes, he's lived a nice long life, and I think it's time to send him for a final fight. So there are mercenaries still available, so perhaps he didn't recruit those. I'm going to buy them just for the sake of sending them back, just to keep the public order going. It's kind of borderline. Perhaps I should leave one unit of Equites in there as well, just temporarily. No, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, in that case, join back up. And we're going to try and bail out Lepsis Magna if we can. It's going to be 3 turns from here. But we can get some backup from Thapsus too. I think we can wait before we send those though. And this rebel family member, I don't think he's going to move too much. It's pretty tempting just to try and attack him. I think I should, because I even though there's no way you could possibly have a farm working here, I think just having them
Attack!
in your area does lower your public order, so we want to get rid of those. Over in Corduba,
Sir!
both of these seem fairly winnable. It's the issue of this guy just hogging the town square. That would make him very difficult to deal with. The only real way we can decisively beat him is by luring him out and cavalry charging him from all sides. Trying to do that in the town itself, although it looks massively in our favour, I don't see a huge reason to rush into that one. Sparta, on the other hand, kind of a similar situation, but I think time is of the essence here. Thrace is still pretty happily attacking Athens. Two more big stacks on their way to Athens. I'm not sure what Macedon's going to do here, because they're at war with Greece as well, and they're at war with Thrace, I believe. But let's save the game and let's attack Sparta. Okay, so as with before, there is a very distinct choice between auto-resolve or just try and outdo them with lots of sap points and things like that. We don't want to go in for a siege already, because there are armoured hoplites, 2 units of armoured hoplites, and they're on the walls. And you basically have to sacrifice all of your infantry in order to bring them down. So that's basically not an option. I was kind of able to win the fight, but only as the timer ran out. So ideally I would have taken advantage of using the Greek towers to shoot down what was left of the armoured hoplites, but it just took too long, so not an option to actually take Sparta yet, so we won't do that. Corduba likewise. I'm fairly content, although it's not quite as fun, I'm fairly content to starve them out, at least for a little while longer. That is definitely the sensible option. Otherwise, there's not really too much to be doing this turn. Let's go and speak to Thrace. See if we can win them over.
You are mistaken, sir.
So at least their towns don't look too strong. It's a fairly weak garrison in there. If we offer them an alliance, they're simply not interested. I wonder if there's something we can do to sweeten the deal. Yeah, okay. So Thrace is just not interested in an alliance, which is a fairly worrying thing. On the other hand, we can at least try and get through to the Greeks, and as soon as we've taken Sparta, we can ask for a ceasefire, then we won't have to worry about them too much. Just need to be able to survive. The Macedonian force here is hopefully going to wipe itself out for the most part. And then we can potentially take Larissa before our opponents, the Thracians, manage to get there, because they're going to be a far bigger threat. And probably just as tough. I don't think they have anything as good as armoured hoplites, but they do have some good units, so we have to be pretty scared of them. Particularly their doom stacks, which will have 1 or 2 really tough units in there, so we don't want to be fighting them if we can avoid it. We do want the Brutii to fight them though, and obviously if we do go to war with them, the Brutii will have to fight them as well. But from the way they're playing so far, it looks like they're mostly focusing on pressing south, so it might be that we take the brunt of their wrath instead of the Brutii, which would not be ideal, so let's not provoke that. Parma here, it's pretty weak. I think we should go and attack that. There's no army in the Julii navy there. Interestingly, I was sure there'd be a port here. There's no port there, so Parma is completely isolated. And I think we can actually send Admiral Augustus to pick up a few units from Sirta. We just recruit some. Most units should do here. We can't see what they've actually got in there, but we don't have any equites here, so let's get some equites. They're fairly cheap too, so we'll get those. And we will end the turn there, unless there's something else we can do with this diplomat. Armenia we've already spoken to. Egypt. Not sure how to feel about Egypt. And I think we already have trade rights with them. If we don't, we'll try and get some. Yeah, we do already have trade rights, so we must have done that before. Let's offer them map information. No, actually, I don't want to do that. I don't know if it actually changes their behaviour in any way, but I don't want to do that. Massive Parthian army here. Only a captain, though, no family member. Parthia does have one more town to the east, which we can go and look for. I'm not sure exactly where it is. Probably right here near the bridge, where we can see a bit of devastation. And since we've spent all of our money, let's just try and get Lilybaeum. No, we're already doing something about that. Okay. Let's just end the turn. Got to move those units. Should have done that a bit more. Okay, here comes the Carthaginian army. That's an interesting development. Greece wants to end the bloodshed. That's simply a non-option because we don't have Sparta yet. And yeah, they are sieging Lepsus Magna. So we want to try and get there as soon as possible. Suitable husband for Titiana. We've got a bureaucrat who's publicly loyal and a confident commander, but he's 27 years old, and I feel like those aren't the best achievements for someone who's 27, so we'll see if we can get something a bit better. Seleucids and Parthia are allies, which is a good thing because hopefully they'll put up some kind of fight against Egypt, although probably not for long. There is the final Parthian, not the final Parthian town, but the easternmost town on the map, I believe, already under siege by the Egyptians. So the Egyptians are just going to steamroll pretty much everything. We'll keep exploring. Kydonia is hopefully stable now. Yep, so they're actually pretty happy, so I'm kind of glad I didn't massacre them. Because now we can actually do stuff with them. Sparta. So they've got 2 units of armoured hoplites, 1 unit of hoplites, and a family member, Peltas, and I think another unit of Peltas. That's the full force there. It's fairly tough to take out. One potential option would have been to transfer more units across. I would have done that if I did exterminate Kydonia, then I could take them on a bit more easily. Thrace has taken Athens, so there's very little left of the Greeks. I want to see what this is, just to check there's no force on board, which doesn't look like there is. We're going to attack them. Not sure if we sunk them or if they sailed off elsewhere. But that's them dealt with for now. Ah, there they are. Looks like we drove them back. That's fine. I'm going to go in that direction anyway because I think we do want to pick up a few more forces from Sicily. We want to train up some more units. And in fact, we could finish them off. Let's have a go at doing that. So they're gone. So it's really not looking good for Greece anymore. It was incredibly foolish of them to put their forces on a boat. Race to the lowest rank. So that's our first time getting into the Senate, for what it's worth. I'm not sure that's going to make too much of a difference to anything. Spanish mercenaries, quite expensive, but kind of on a par to the Hastati. And although they're more expensive, they're not really more expensive in terms of upkeep. And they are going to be useful if we have to fight this Carthaginian force, so let's just buy them. And I'm fairly happy for them to attack us, because with this many cavalry, we don't really want to be trying to assault the town itself. We want them to come and try and fight us, as that's not such a scary force. Peasants in particular are going to be very easy to deal with. Otherwise, so many infantry units, we can surround them and cause them all kinds of problems. And we're being left with less and less money to actually do things with.
Sir!
I do want to deal with this guy, but I think we should deal with him.
Engage the enemy!
Let's take him out. Okay, so there they are. They've got peasants in the front. That's fine. We'll rout them immediately. Attack the rebel general with the militia cav, and they are mostly javelin men, so we do want to be charging them for the most part. Looks like they're ignoring me and going for the peasants, but that's fine. We rout the peasants quickly, that's going to lower everyone else's morale. Need to be a bit scared of this family member here. Let's surround him and try and rout him straight away. Go for a full charge. You guys are going to get friendly fires. Let's go for the javelin men.
The enemy general flees. Press forward.
Successfully routed, so hopefully this will improve the public order situation
The enemy general
in
is
our
dead.
southernmost town.
His men know their doom approaches.
And that's pretty much the fight over. Just need to rout this final unit, which shouldn't take too long. Especially if they don't stand and fight.
The enemy show their true virtue. They are not soldiers, only frightened rabbits running from our men. Oh!
Yep, that was definitely worth doing. And it's not taken us too far out of our way, so we should still be able to get to Lepsis Magna before it falls. I don't think they're going to assault it, I think they just want to time it out. If they do assault it, I feel like we have a slightly better chance. That's actually improved him a bit. Confident commander, and +1 command when defending. Slightly more likely to get elected as well, but I'm not sure that's worth too much given how old he is. He's pretty tough though, he's got 79 in a bodyguard unit, and that's going to make a big difference. Thapsus, we're trying to make them more happy. I think we've established that cavalry units don't really make any difference, so if we step out... Oh, they actually do sometimes. I have no idea how it works. Sometimes it seems like they make 0 difference, and other times they make all the difference. They're not quite at a level where they're going to rebel. So for now I might get Hastati instead, just to keep them ticking over. Make sure that we're able to come and back up our family member when he arrives. So even if we travel to the maximum possible point, if he did for some reason break the siege to come and pursue us and take these 2 units out, he wouldn't be able to get there, so that's fine. Get a bit closer. Over in Sirta, we're a slightly stronger force now. We'll board the ships if we can. Sirta really doesn't like that. We'll drop them to a low tax rate and we'll recruit some peasants. And I think we want some public order boosting buildings wherever we can get them, so let's have a look. Kappa's doing okay, and they're actually getting slowly closer to the point where they will get to the largest possible size, giving us the Marian reforms, I believe. It's tempting to get the Legion barracks. But a large temple of Vulcan would be nice as well. Let's focus on places that need us the most though. So Tingi has lost most of its forces. We can't actually do anything about the public order situation there other than recruit peasants. We will do that. That's not going to make too much of a difference. Demidi. It's already got the temple to Saturn. I don't like the idea of dropping tax rates because it increases growth rates, which is not really what we want here. This town rebels, it's so far from everywhere else that it's just going to be a massive ball ache to come and deal with, so try and keep them sweet as long as we can. And again, as I mentioned in the last part, building sewers can be counterproductive, so we won't do that. We'll leave that town be. And what we might do is start recruiting a few more units in Sicily so that we can use those. Sail them over to Greece in case they're needed. And if they're not needed, we can take them south to Cyrene, which is going to need some backup soon as well. Doesn't look like it's about to get attacked, but this can only stay in its current state for so long. This is the final remnant of the Numidian forces. I'm not sure why Egypt doesn't go for that. Perhaps they're relatively trustworthy as an ally, but that's an easy target for them. And that's the only town that stands between us and the strongest player on the campaign map. That's fairly intimidating. I'm going to send my diplomat all the way over there, just in case I can do something like get a temporary alliance with the Egyptians, perhaps. That would be very nice. Perhaps this is unhappy, but we're dealing with it. And we've not really got much else that we can spend. I would buy a bireme. We can't quite afford one. Okay, now the decision about whether to attack Sparta or not. So we do have a couple of sat points now, I believe.
Engage the enemy.
Which is interesting, because we can use those to potentially destroy the wall that the armoured hoplites are standing on, if it does work like that. We could even buy more. I think we should wait for at least one more turn, based on the experience I already had, which I will have edited out of the video. It's not really worth watching.
Fleet ready.
And I'm hoping this Carthaginian army is going to attack us. Let's have a look. They didn't. So I'm not sure what they're trying to do. I'm not sure where they've gone either.
Orders.
That's looking fairly winnable. The only problem is if he mass routes the Equites, it's going to be a pain.
Engage the enemy.
We don't really have any archers to harass them with, to try and lure them out. Kydonia's got the port, that's good. We're going to go straight into the shrine to Neptune. Probably the last time I'm going to build anything Neptune related. I don't think we need any more naval towns. And let's bump up their tax rate since we can. It's quite a nice money spinner actually, 1,000 coming in per turn. Is there no rioting yet? So we've got 3 turns to come back and help Leptis Magna. It doesn't look like he wants to attack it, which is good. Let's see if we can join these up.
General.
Okay, looks like it's going to be 3 turns either way, so let's just get closer to our other units first.
Sir. Imperator. Move out.
2,000 to spend. Just see where we can do that. So Masada's not too happy. Let's just get them. Leptis Magna's also not very happy anymore. They are under siege though, so that's kind of understandable. Demidi not very happy. None of these are going to help with public order either, which is a bit of a shame. They've got a pretty massive garrison too. No wait, that's Thapsus I'm looking at. Let's have a look at Demidi. What have they got? It's fairly sizable. We might have to drop the tax rate there, which is quite unfortunate. But it's what we've got to do, and really instantly deals with their public order problems. We can also try and lower the culture penalty. If we have a look at the settlement details, still got a pretty massive culture penalty there, so if we just build a militia barracks, replace their barracks, that could deal with that reasonably well. What else have they got? Carthaginian trader. Replace that with a market. Would make us some money, but the problem with that is it also increases population growth, which is not really something we want. Although in a town that small it might not be such an issue. I think for now we'll just leave it be. It's fairly happy. Militia barracks versus market. I think market's going to be more useful. We won't leave it be. We will get a market. I think that's going to help. At least in the short term, and I don't think we need to be excessively worried about the long term. Over here in Lilybaeum, we're going to need more peasants. Syracuse. Let's have some more Principes, and I think Principes. Hastati in Messana as well, and let's just send our navy over to pick those up.
Ready to sail. Yes, Captain. Moves completed, sir. Ready
It's continuously annoying that when you have naval captains with command stars, you can't combine them together. It's a bit of a nightmare in some ways. Anyway, over here in Corduba, I'm much more confident about this than I am about Sparta, so let's attack them. Should be able to take the walls pretty quickly. And then it's just a case of dealing with those 2 family members. It could be a problem, but if we can lure them out somehow, we might be able to rout them if we can surround them. So as far as defenders go, the lyric slingers, they're going to do some damage as we arrive, but hopefully we can deal with them once we're on the walls. We can also surround them because they've got nothing on this side, so that's great. There's not really anything behind the gates either, so let's go for that. Take their walls from them. And one potential option in the long term would be to take their towers from them and try and use them against them. That's kind of what I tried when I tried taking Sparta, and it literally took the entire length of the timer to reduce the number of units, the number of soldiers in the armoured hoplite unit from 160 to about 100. So, possibly not such a great tactic, really. Getting absolutely destroyed here. That's ridiculous. I don't know how long that's been dead for. I did speed it up, but there goes a whole unit of Astarte for absolutely nothing. That is why we bought the Spanish mercenaries there. There's no reason to really use the rams anyway. That was a bit of a waste, and that unit is pretty much completely dead. That's fine, it happens. We shouldn't take any more losses from the towers now. We are up on the walls. Just need to jump in and route these as soon as possible. They're actually pushed up against the back of the walls, which is interesting. Might make them more likely to fall down, as actually it looks like they're going to try and run away. No, they're actually coming to the middle, that's interesting. It's only going to make them more likely to get surrounded. Hit them from both sides, hopefully we can rout them much quicker. Because yeah, they're going to have to turn around and fight us, otherwise we're just going to hack down lots of them. Get double speed. See what happens is, yeah, they're actually just slashing them in the back, so this is significantly easier than taking the walls in Sparta would be. We deal with that whole unit very quickly, and then it's just going to be a case of figuring out what to do with the family members. This is their capital though, so once this falls, we just need to go and take their final town. I think it was Parma. Once we take Parma, that should be the final end of Carthage. They've got that big force, but I'm not too worried about that. I think we can deal with that fine, as long as we don't lose too many units here. I'm not sure what's going on with these guys. They're struggling to get through somehow.
Our soldiers have captured the walls! Now is the time to press on and capture this place!
Okay, no worry. Absolutely no reason to rush it. Not going to charge in just yet, as that's a pretty massive square, which is ideal. Seems to make it possible to surround them. Can come in from two different ways too. That could be really helpful. So they're holding out pretty well. But they are wavering. Taking some heavy losses. They're fighting to the death. We shouldn't lose too many more now. They get a bit more experience, but they're dead. Let's think about bringing in the cavalry. Because we do have some missile cav, and that might be a good way to lure them out. Family member. Need to try and keep him alive. That's not worked out too well so far, but that can make a big difference. Then the infantry here, we can use them just to try and fire their javelins. Again, that might lure them out a bit. They've got two different family members here. One is the faction leader, and that's the biggest threat of the bunch. We're going to be relying entirely on surrounding them and flanking them, because our units aren't actually strong enough to fight them otherwise. Let's just wait till we've all lined up. Okay, so we've got a fairly large force on the left here, another force forming on the right. Force on the left is weaker overall, but it does have the family member in it, which I'm hoping will make it fairly capable. What we're going to do is we're going to try and charge in, squeeze them between the two different batches. We're going to try and bring in the infantry as well, if we can. They probably won't arrive till quite late. And we definitely want the militia cav, if we can, to do a bit of damage before we engage. Most likely they're going to try and charge us, but that's when we try and hit them in the back. We're not going fully onto the square. But they most likely will come for us. They do have one unit of Libyan spearmen there, which could be a problem. We don't want to fight them with the cav. Otherwise we're going to get routed very quickly. Want these guys to calm down. Don't want to get too close. I'm not expecting that they'll let us fully surround them, as yeah, their Libyan spearmen are coming out. Now, I'm not sure which direction the infantry are going to come from. That is slightly uncomfortable. Because yeah, it looks like we're going to have to just try and avoid them. Hope that the units don't ignore us too much, as we can see how many we lose just from trying to run past them. It's really not ideal. But now we need to try and surround them, charge in. We're already routing. What's going on here? Very scared for the general's life here. I'm going to try and pull him out. Have him support from the back. Just need him to stay disciplined. Infantry, I should have waited till they actually came up in larger numbers, but we are completely surrounding their general now. Morale situation not looking too good. But the number advantage is definitely ours. They've still got 75 left, despite everything. They are happy to see their general, which is good. Try and send these routers back in. And the infantry are slowly making it. That's fine. I don't mind taking losses too much. I don't think we're going to need these for too much. Fairly happy just to get the fight over with. We might want to try and charge him in the back, general. Going to be big losses, but the general's bodyguard there is down to 14, other one is down to 33, so they are taking some pretty heavy losses. Definitely would have been ideal to send in the infantry first just to deal with the spearmen, but now that we are where we are, let's just try and flank them and finish them off with a full surround. Can't rout them, unfortunately. They would have routed a long time ago if we could. That's just going to do more harm than good. I don't think they should be doing that. Definitely not. So there are very few left now.
The enemy king lies dead at your feet. Now is the time to strike hard at his grieving subjects.
Okay. That's fine. We can retrain those. It's going to cost a bit, but we're going to exterminate this town anyway, so it should pay for itself pretty much. As they got far more kills than we did. That was not the way to do it. That was absolutely not the way to do it. Send in the infantry first. But can't be bothered to refight that fight again, so we'll accept it for now.
Victory! Settlement captured!
Right, let's exterminate them. That's given us lots of money, a hell of a lot of money. So let's retrain. As it looks like we can't retrain just yet, so possibly we need stables, or we can do that. But we can retrain the Hastati, which is good, so let's do that. And let's recruit some Principes. And let's drop them temporarily to a low tax rate. Destroy the Temple to Baal. And we will get the stables, but first let's, well, I could get mines +1, that's going to be really good for income, but that's more of a long-term concern. It's a large city, which is nice to have. Shrine to Saturn will help with the culture penalty, and follow it up with a stable. If I can find that again. That looks like an archery range to me. It's the fence that confused me. Anyway, I think we've done enough for this part. We have got 13,000 in the bank, which is going to be pretty huge, and it's going to help a hell of a lot. I'm hoping that these Macedon armies are going to weaken themselves, and then we can potentially take Corinth. but we've got a good foothold in Iberia now. So the factionaire is going further north again. Even if he does come and attack, I think that's fine. We'll get most of our units back before too long. We'll keep recruiting as well, because we're going to need a lot to actually take the bulk of Spain. And let's just go for Parma. I don't think they have too much. 3 units there, and 2 units in the garrison. I guess we've only got 5 of our own units, so we probably do want to wait before we do that, to be honest. Get a couple more. But we'll do all that in the next part, so I hope you guys enjoyed. In the next part we will be probably taking Sparta. Well, definitely taking Sparta, but I might just wait out the 4 turns now. Take significantly fewer losses, and have a good foothold in Greece too. And once that's done, we can start thinking about, firstly, solidifying what we do have in Greece, taking most of Iberia, and potentially going east to finish off the Numidians. And then we just need to worry about the Egyptians, which is going to be a massive fight. Probably the biggest fight that we'll have apart from against the other Romans, so it should be interesting. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time.